Honestly, people, this may be the best show in the Sweats history because breaking Red Sox news coming down minutes ago, and we have Jared Carrabis in studio sitting feet away from me, and he is upset, he is confused, he is emotional, he is numb because he is dead inside. We also have some PGA Tour best bets to get to. We're going to talk about some training camp storylines and the fantasy and sportsbook impact of that. But Matt Cody, let's punch up the open now and give Jared 30 seconds to wipe his tears away. We are wasting no time, people. It's the takeoff with DraftKings podcast host Jared Carrabis. Emotionless right now because minutes ago, the Red Sox announcing Chris Sale is out for the year after breaking his wrist in a bicycle accident. Your immediate reaction to the news, I'm assuming it was something like this. This is insane, dude.
I'm not even lying to you, I thought when I first saw the tweet that it was from The Onion. I was like, oh yeah, Chris Sale broke his wrist again. Like, what do you mean he broke it? Like, he's already broken.
Yeah, like his finger's broken.
He broke his finger because first of all, the season was delayed because he broke his ribs.
Yeah.
We still don't know how he broke his ribs.
Mr. Glass.
Then he gets a comebacker smoked off his hand by Aaron Hicks at like $110. You break his finger. Mm-hmm. Cool. Then you see this, because I thought that it was like either it was an Onion article.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that it wasn't the Onion, I was like, is this recycled news? Because I already know he got surgery because he broke his hand. I was like, wait a second, he broke his wrist? How?
Yeah.
How? I was like, it's not soon enough for him to be rehabbing or lifting. Like, how did you break your wrist? On a bicycle.
I understand.
Emerson, on a bicycle.
Right?
You can't break your bones on a bicycle.
Watch it.
Unless you're Joe Biden. He's 1,000 years old. And to my knowledge,
Dude.
I don't even think Joe Biden broke any bones when he fell off that bicycle.
No, he didn't, and he had a helmet on.
He was fine.
Yeah.
So why is Chris Sale hurt? Why, Emerson? Can you answer that question for me?
No. Watch it leak that it wasn't only a bicycle. It was a Peloton, like a Peloton.
Yeah.
That would be even more Red Sox.
Yeah.
But this team says he had successful surgery, which is the first time that Chris Sale has been successful at anything in years. Why was he on a bike with a broken finger?
I wish I had the answer to that question. I would love to have the answer to that question. I mean, it's just not smart. Like, what you just had surgery to repair a broken finger, and now you're riding a bicycle.
I understand.
Why? Just sit there. Sit there and don't move.
Where does his contract rank now among the worst in team history? I mean, Billy behind the camera here, he mentioned Carl Crawford, like, before the show.
Crawford wasn't even, like, terrible.
That's what I'm saying. You said he at least played baseball.
Yeah, like, Carl Crawford still played the games, and he still got a return from the Dodgers for you. So I can't even really knock the Chris Sale contract because, like, I was excited when it happened. I wasn't like, oh, man, what a huge mistake. So I refuse to do the hindsight's 2020 thing because I was excited. It looks really bad now.
There you go. There he is.
It looks really bad now. He still has 2 more years after this at $27.5 million.
All right.
And a club option if you want that 3rd year. But again, I'm not going to be the guy that says, like, oh, what a terrible deal. When at the time I was like, yeah, this is great. I love Chris Sale. I want him here for the rest of his career.
What's his future, though, look like with the team? Like, what do you think they do with him?
What do you do? What do you do? I mean, you just have to. Every year is the same. It's Groundhog's Day with this guy. It's like, all right, last year it gets less and less every single year. Last year, the Red Sox built their team to sort of tread water until Chris Sale comes back. And that was supposed to be like the big addition in the second half was, hey, when Chris Sale comes back, now we go. This year, it was more along the lines of, hey, we'll construct a roster, I guess, from like a pitching perspective, that if he comes back, that's great, but we can still just go. Like, we have guys, if he never comes back, we're good. He's throwing 5 2/3 innings this year. Next year, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like at least with this injury, he should be ready to go by the start of next year.
Every time something happens to him, we say, he should be ready to go.
Yeah.
He should be ready to go.
Had like
and then he gets on a bike.
It was a major surgery at the start of 2021. This year it was more like the rib thing. Like I don't even know like what that was, but obviously like a rib injury is going to affect a pitcher in different ways. But this time it's like, all right, it's your finger and it's your wrist. I presume he should be ready to go by the start of next year. That being said, you still construct a rotation that has enough guys to withstand a Chris Sale major injury because you'd be a fool to not plan for that.
Are the Red Sox cursed?
No.
Are they cursed right now?
No.
It's Chris Sale win. Maybe it's the Chris Sale curse where it's like he gets you the World Series, you overreact, you give him the fat contract, and now they just crap themselves.
Everything is going according to plan. This organization
with
loves
Chris Sale?
With the whole thing. The team, last place. Look back, Emerson. Are you paying attention?
I am.
Last place, championship. Last place, championship, last place, championship. This is what this team does.
Yeah.
I don't care if they finish in last place this year. I hope they finish in last place. It means the championship's right around the corner.
All right, so plus 425 on the DraftKings Sportsbook to make the postseason. It sounds like you're steering clear of that.
Yeah,
The 4.5 back of the wild card right now.
Terrible bet. Yeah,
Okay.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Who shares the most blame then for this underwhelming season?
Heimblum.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, Heimblum's a
sounds
smart
like
guy.
that sounds like how Red Sox Nation feels on Twitter too, which everyone is
there's a lot.
on Twitter.
There's too much Fireheim stuff going around. I'm not in the Fireheim camp, but he's definitely the biggest slice of the blame pie because, and I've said this before, some of the moves have worked out. Like there's too many trying to find like the diamond in the rough type deal, like Michael Wacha. When he's out there pitching, he's been great.
Yeah.
But you're putting your eggs in the basket of a bunch of players that have injury history. So when they get hurt, who's to blame? It's you. You're the guy that picked all these guys. Like you're the one that wanted all these players. And again, this is another like hindsight's 2020 thing. Where's Trevor Story been? Like this is like we're going on like over a month now of no Trevor Story.
Yeah.
And if you want to play, a little revisionist history here. You take the whatever it was, $150 million that you gave to Trevor Story, who hasn't played for you. Jose Iglesias, remember him?
Yeah.
They loved him last year. He played great for you down the stretch. He's one of the biggest reasons why you got in the playoffs last year. He cost you $5 million. He's having a better season than Trevor Story. And you take that, whatever, $100 million left, you go sign a guy like Kevin Gausman. They never even picked up the phone. They never even picked up the phone to call Kevin Gausman. And he's been, he's not going to win the Cy Young, but he's going to be top 10, top 5 maybe in the American League. So I look at this team, the way that it was constructed, the buttons that were pushed, the buttons that were not pushed, and you're like, well, yeah, there's been a ton of injuries, but like, what do you expect when you bring in a bunch of guys that have injury histories?
Yep.
They're going to get injured. That's what happens.
I see Bobby D's trying to get some reps in at second base, so everything's going to be fine. Okay, I don't want you
He's
to
great.
panic.
I love Bob.
I know you do. Speaking of underperforming, the Padres have lost 5 of their last 6 games.
Yeah.
They've been shut out in 2 straight. Currently, 3rd in the wild card. What does this team need to do in order to be considered successful?
Stop playing the Dodgers. Yeah, I would start
them,
there.
man.
Yeah, they got outscored, I believe, 20-4 against the Dodgers over the weekend. That was a dud. And trust me, I love me some good baseball. When we were talking about the Mets and Braves, they had a 5-game series going into this weekend. Super exciting stuff. Like those games were competitive, although the Mets took 4 out of 5. It wouldn't seem like it was competitive, but the games were competitive. I'm sitting at home FaceTiming you over the weekend, going to see you at Target.
You were stalking me at Target from your apartment.
I was. And then I was also trying to watch competitive games between the Dodgers and the Padres, and I'm looking up and I'm like, it's 8-0 in the second inning.
It should be the best series every time it's on. It should be exciting as hell.
What a dud. In 2020, we were spoiled because those games were all like pay-per-view quality. Like those were playoff games, and the environment was insane. Like these games were, they weren't competitive. I was super disappointed in like the Manny Machado comments. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see these comments?
If it happened over the weekend, I likely missed it.
Yeah. So after the Padres got swept by the Dodgers, a reporter was like, "Hey, are you like concerned about the state of the team?" And he's like, "No." And then they were like, "Well, why not?" And he said, "Because I'm Manny effing Machado."
Hell yeah. Well, he's focused on winning MVP. Maybe he doesn't care about like the team numbers.
He doesn't. There was a ball at third base. He booted it. It like skipped into left field, and he like casually jogged after it. Like, you just got Juan Soto and Josh Bell. There's so much hype surrounding the San Diego Padres. You're booting ball. I mean, he admittedly in 2018 he had the infamous quote like, "I'm not exactly Johnny Hustle out there." He's telling you like, "Yeah, I don't really hustle for anything. Like, you're gonna pay me $300 million. I'm gonna hit some home runs and play some decent defense." But it was just a bad look. The weekend was a bad look for the Padres.
Yep.
Like, you can't go in there and get swept by the Dodgers after all the hype, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, how do they stack up against the Dodgers now?" And then to have, I guess that's your team leader, right? Like, that's the guy. That's the guy that you originally spent all that money on. That's supposed to be your clubhouse leader, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not worried because I'm Manny Machado."
Yep.
What does that have to do with anything? Like, it's a bad look.
I'm telling you.
It's a bad look.
For them, it's the Eric Hosmer curse. Trade away to Eric Hosmer, and all of a sudden you're just
You love curses today. You're a big curse guy.
I'm a huge curse guy right now. Jacob deGrom, let's go ahead and stick in the National League.
Yeah.
So he returned to the mound for the Mets for the first time in 13 months. Wait, you were just hanging out with the Mets yesterday, right?
I was there yesterday, yeah.
So he didn't skip a beat. No. And the Mets on the DK Sportsbook here, Jared, had the fourth best odds to win the World Series, plus 550. Ooh. If they can get to the postseason with the healthy 1-2 punch of deGrom and Scherzer, who's going to beat these guys in a 7-game series?
Nobody, and I think that that's why they're fourth. Is because you said if they're healthy, I think that that's like a valid concern to have.
Yeah, because that happened to DeGrom last year too, right? He came back
and
then
Scherzer.
Yes.
Like Scherzer ran out of gas at the end of last year. It wasn't like an injury. It was just like, oh, this is I'm pulling this and like I'm sore here. If those guys stay healthy, I don't know who beats them. Like that if you see in a best of 7, Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer 4 times, and who's to say that it's not like a Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling situation like in 2001 with the D-backs, where it's like, like you might get them as starters for 4 of those games, but what happens when you get them both out of the pen in a game 7 or something like that? So that's the answer to the question. Like, are there offenses that are better than theirs? Of course.
I know.
But they can hit with the best of them, and we saw that against the Braves. But in terms of those 2 starters, no one, not just right now this year, in this generation, I don't think that there's been a team that matches up better than with the Mets, like with those 2 guys. It just doesn't happen. Like those pitchers don't exist.
Speaking of pitchers, how nervous are you to throw out the first pitch on Sunday? Sunday night, Red Sox. It's Red Sox Yankees at Fenway. It's the only game of the night. It is Sunday night baseball. You know the Yankees fans, they love you.
They do.
They travel.
Yeah, they do.
How much pressure are you feeling right now?
None.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even a little bit? What is that middle?
That's
the bottom.
That's me showing is my hand shaking?
Okay, let's see you at 7 o'clock on Sunday night. I want to see your hand right before.
All right.
What's the strategy going to be?
Heater?
I said it. I said it to Slates, our producer. I go, I want him to throw heat.
Yeah. So
you're the Rocket.
So it's not even like, are you nervous? It's who do you select to catch, right?
Ooh, all right. So
like,
who are
I don't know. Like, I don't know who. I haven't asked anyone yet. It's probably going to be Cora. I'm probably going to ask him.
Yeah, you guys are boys.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to say yes, though, because it is Red Sox Yankees Sunday Night Baseball. Like, he might be, like, in the zone. Like, I feel like, a ceremonial first pitch is more along the lines of, like, it's like a nice little, it's a Sunday day game against the Royals. Like, I'll go out there. Yeah, sure, right. Put it right there, Jared. But, like, Sunday Night Baseball, Red Sox Yankees, he might be like, I'm focused right now.
You got to go Aaron Judge.
Aaron
you gotta
Judge.
go. You guys are like best friends, always talking and VP.
Ask the opposing team.
Get in their head. Or Aaron Boone. You gotta go one of the. Come on.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
If I if I asked Aaron Boone and I just fired one, just one-hopped him right in the balls
Yeah,
or something?
producer Slate just got in my ear and said, yeah, have Aaron Judge throw heat, break his hand. Red Sox are back.
But why would I break his hand when he's going to play for the Red Sox next year?
Ah, good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he could chill in the retirement center.
Right.
With,
Right next to Chris Sale.
with Chris Sale. All right, let's get you out of here with this. We're tight on time. What's your hot take this week?
I got a hot take this week, and I'll tell you right now, I thought of this in the elevator. It was a hot take that I'd be lying to you if I said I'd been sitting on it and stewing on it for a long time.
Yeah, just for 5 minutes.
But I do feel very strongly about this take.
Say it. Say it, you coward.
Bicycles should be illegal. Like bikes of all kinds. First of all, why are you guys in the middle of the street? Number one, like people that like ride bicycles in the middle of the street, get a car, dude.
Yeah.
Walk.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing? You're in the way, first of all. How many baseball players have we lost to motorcycles or bicycles at this point? Madison Bumgarner, Fernando Tatis Jr., Chris Sale. Like, you're either talking about the face of the league or two World Series champion left-handed pitchers that are absolute legends, that are ballers, that have massive contracts that they need to honor. How many great men will we lose to cycles before we do something about this problem?
I agree.
It's insane.
As a resident of the city of Boston, I totally agree with you because they have eliminated all lanes for cars. There are 3 bike lanes now, and there's 1 tiny lane for a car, so there's traffic everywhere.
Crazy.
I'm done.
Get them out of here.
Get them out. Get them out.
There's a reason why you have Pelotons. Like, go home.
Yep.
If you really want to ride a bike that bad, go home.
You're
and if you
talking
need
to
a
me,
method of traveling, get a car like everyone else.
So I know you'll be taking an Uber home after this. You're not going to be renting one of the blue bikes.
No.
All right. Good stuff.
Hey,
Thank you.
It was good to see you.
It's great to see you as well, man. I'll see you Sunday night. I'm actually going
Are you going to come to the game?
I'm going to the game tomorrow night, actually, with Casey. We're going to support Eric Hosmer.
Oh, okay.
I'll see you then. Come down and say what's up.
I'll come say hi.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Live here. We're going to go to the NFL. We got some training camp storylines to talk about. Welcome back to The Sweat, everybody, where it is time now to put a fantasy and sportsbook spin on some of the latest NFL headlines. And here to help are 2 of the most miserable people I know, DraftKings contributors, Pierce Dietrich and Julian Edlow. Pierce, your smile, it looks beautiful today.
I hate bikers too. And
Yes.
their stupid biker outfits.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yes. Oh my.
Pierce and I can get on board and get angry about bikers.
This is incredible. I'm telling you, we're all on one team. Ban bikers forever. All right, let's start though right now in Julian's home away from home, Las Vegas, where Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels has said the team has no desire to trade Josh Jacobs despite his large number of preseason carries. So that's kind of weird. They also didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So we know this. Teams lie all the time. Coaches lie all the time. No one tells the truth anymore. Who should you draft as his handcuff, Jules? Kenyon Drake or rookie Zamir White?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously something's going on with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
You didn't see Derek Carr taking any hits in that game. You didn't see Devontae Adams taking any hits in that game. But you're going to put a primary ball carrier that you've leaned on for 20 touches a game in the past out there and let him take hits in the Hall of Fame game. And then the contract situation. Like, if you like him, pay him. You didn't pay him. And that's why you don't take running backs in the first round, like the Raiders did with Josh Jacobs, the only running back to go in the first round of that draft class. So maybe they're featuring him to show him off or whatever. For me, when these situations happen, and of course the two no names are the two guys that scored the touchdowns, Amir Abdullah and somebody else. Kenyon Drake is getting up there as well in terms of running back years. So this is where I defer. Like, I love rookie running backs when they come in with fresh legs. Zamir White, a guy from Georgia that's played high competition in the SEC, and he looked good in that game. He got a lot of touches, but he produced with them. So for me, maybe it's not right away. Maybe you lean more on some veterans early in the season. But as the season goes on, if you're looking at season-long value later in the season, or, from a DFS perspective, a guy that's going to take over cheaper in like a week 6 or 7 and start to go on a run, Zamir White would be that guy for me.
All right, Pierce, do you agree there?
I'm going to stay away in this spot. I don't really want anything to do with the Raiders' offense in terms of rush. The offensive line's not very good. I believe this team's going to pass a lot more. Maybe you get some value if you get these guys late in the draft, but that's even if they trade him away. And, of course, they want to trade Jacobs. We talked about this yesterday. You don't want to admit you want to trade him. That's going to lower the value. You want to pretend that, you're not going to get him from us. Maybe they can get a second-round pick. If they can get a second-round pick, they should absolutely take that. That's the best they're going to do. But they're not going to get a second-round pick for him, and they're not going to sign him next season. He's going to want a big contract. And, once running backs get over 24 years of age, we see a big fall off. This is it. We've already seen Jacobs fall off. We've already seen his injuries. Worst case scenario, and this is probably what's going to happen for DFS, is you're going to get a little taste of all three, and it's just going to be a pick and choose. Maybe on a given week in daily fantasy, you can pick the right guy that falls into the end zone or get some PPR, but season long, good luck trying to figure out what the tandem back situation is going to be with Las Vegas.
All right, well, let's stick with the running back position here, because reports out of Baltimore here, guys, say that Gus Edwards likely going to be out week 1 against the Jets. So he tore his ACL last year just prior to the start of the season. Not ready to return just yet. But this could be good news here for this gentleman, J.K. Dobbins, activated off the PUP list, returned to practice on Monday here, Pierce. So with Edwards out, does Dobbins look like a legit week 1 play at $5,600?
He's a leader in the clubhouse right now. The 5K range could probably get its own entire podcast where you just break down all these players in the $5,000 to $4,000 range. And with Edwards being out, Dobbins is going to look pretty good. You always have to worry about Lamar Jackson poaching some yards on the ground and possibly getting into the end zone. But there is a ton of tandem backfields that we're just going to have to wait on, the coaches, the casualties, and see who comes up. I mean, you got the Patriots tandem backs in the 5K range, Jacksonville tandem backs in the 5K range, Kansas City tandem backs in the 5K range, Miami. So if we see some injuries or just the way that the coaches are leaning, one of those guys is going to increase in value. Eli Mitchell is really cheap. And we've seen San Francisco dedicate to the run. He's the number 1 guy. I even want to throw out Marlon Mack going to Houston in a revenge game. Could get plenty of garbage time PPR points. We saw Rex Burkhead end up in optimal winning lineups last season, and he's basically free. And then, there's going to be injuries. We're going to see somebody that we're not even thinking of get 20 carries and end up being an incredible bargain. But right now, it's Dobbins.
Yeah, Jules, Pierce is right. It is kind of a loaded price range here. How much will you consider Dobbins at 5'6"?
Yeah, Pierce laid out a lot of the guys that, would currently stand out. And then we consider that there's a whole month until this slate is played, and we know running backs are going to get injured in camp. Running backs are going to get injured in preseason games, and there's going to be another game that or another name that probably becomes like the top chalk play or cash play on the slate. We just don't know who it is yet until somebody goes down, which, unfortunately will happen. But yeah, Dobbins, if you're telling me that you're going to get a Ravens featured back in week 1 against that Jets defense, then yeah, absolutely, I'm interested at 5,600. And one thing that I like about the Ravens is they're probably going to show us a little in preseason. Harbaugh takes preseason seriously. The Ravens have won whatever it is, 21 preseason games in a row. So when we see their first team reps, whatever games they decide to show it to us in the preseason, they're probably going to be pretty indicative of what we see in that week 1 game against the Jets. So we'll know if Dobbins takes 90% of their, first team reps, that he's a trustworthy featured guy in week 1 in this price range. So I like that. I think we will, have an idea of how he's going to be used based on the preseason versus a team like the Rams that show nothing every time in terms of making the final decision on Dobbins. But yeah, it seems like if there's no Gus Edwards there, this is going to be a pretty safe spot.
All right, guys, we're saving the best for last here. Let's end with Aaron Rodgers, who said taking psychedelic drugs on a retreat to Peru was the reason for one of his best seasons of his career, the one that earned him his 3rd of 4 MVP awards. Going to be real with you here. He should probably start tripping balls now because he no longer has Davante Adams after he bolted for Vegas. So how much hallucinogenic tea would you need to gallop and just drink up to bet Aaron Rodgers at plus 100,000 to repeat as the MVP this year, Jules?
Well, I wouldn't need any to bet him at plus 100,000, like you said, because you
plus
take anything
1,
at plus 100,000.
plus 1,000.
Yeah, you might have consumed some tea before presenting this question.
I did.
I would need quite a bit of hallucinogenic tea to bet on him to three-peat at plus 1,000. It's just not the highest number in the world, or not the best number in the world. It's a little high because of the back-to-back MVPs, and you got to think at some point voter fatigue is going to catch up. He's not going to get 3 in a row, and he's probably not going to be able to perform well enough to win 3 in a row without throwing Davante Adams the ball. There's other younger receivers there that he's going to have to get on the same page with. We had Adam Levitan on Unreasonable Odds last week.
Yeah.
One of the player props that he gave out season long that he's bet was Aaron Rodgers under 33.5 passing touchdowns. So he expects him to come down a little bit there. I think his number had him just around 30, 31. Yeah, there's got to be, I'm not going to be Max Kellerman and say that Tom Brady's fallen off a cliff thing, but he's got to slow down a little bit, and there's got to be a little bit of an impact in losing a guy like Davante Adams.
Yeah, Pierce. You don't have to be mashing mushrooms here to bet him at plus 1,000, right, to repeat at MVP?
No, I'll take MK Ultra Aaron Rodgers to win the MVP. Look, they've got a good defense. They've got a good offensive line. They've got running backs. They're going to win plenty of games. And at the end of the season, when you win a lot of games, who gets all the credit? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. And if Aaron Rodgers wins a lot of games without Davante Adams, they're going to say, hey, Aaron Rodgers did it again. He is the most valuable player. Will his stats be as good? No, but I don't think that the bettors or the voters are completely looking at the pure stats and the analytics. If they see that Green Bay does it again, especially without Davante Adams, then they're not going to need ayahuasca to make this decision. The voters are not that dedicated. They aren't really paying that much attention. We give them way too much credit. All he's got to do is win games. This team is going to win games, and he's going to get all the credit.
Yep. Note to self, go to Peru with Aaron Rodgers. On that note, guys, we are out of here. We're playing America's favorite confusing game, What's in the Hat, right after this. Back to the diamond we go, back to a game in which we finally nailed down the rules. We think 3 weeks in. Shout out to producer Slates. It's What's in the Hat. Here to play DraftKings contributors Steve Buchanan and Gary and Thorne. But here we go. Let's remind the people and ourselves how this works. We pick a name out of a hat. You two put them into one of 4 categories for the night. You're going to draw a player's name from the hat, guys. Need to assign them to the categories. You guys can pass the player that you pick to the other dude one time during the segment. That analyst will need to assign that player to one of the categories. I think that was pretty easy to follow here. So let's do the first name. Here we go. What do we got? Steven, Marcus Stroman.
Good, yeah. I'll take this one here. I think this is great spot here for Marcus Stroman going against the Washington Nationals. I think our next game should be, can you name 3 players in the Washington Nationals lineup? I think that would actually be very competitive. But he has been stellar through the second half of the season thus far, a 1.93 ERA. And that comes against 3 pretty hefty opponents here, Phillies, Giants, and Cardinals. I mean, that's not something you want to sneeze at there. And you look at this Nationals lineup, like I know Nationals, only a 127 isolated power against righties at active roster. It's the 3rd lowest in the league. They're not going to get much against him tonight. So I'm going to go a little conservative here. I'm going to put him in the 10 spot, but I think he's obviously going to do much better than that.
Okay, I'm just marking that down so I remember. Let's go. Here we go. Gare Bear. Austin Riley, dude. Oh.
There we go. Now it's in focus. So am I. Yeah, this is a great spot for Austin Riley. I would consider putting him in the 20-plus fantasy point category, but we got a lot of pitchers left in that hat. So I'm going to also play this conservative and put him in the 10 DraftKings point slot. But, man, when you get Austin Riley up against a left-handed pitcher, that is the situation you want for Austin Riley. A 495 WOBA this season within the split, a 221 WRC+. That is the 2nd best mark of any qualified hitter in baseball. The only guy doing better against lefties is Paul Goldschmidt. And to be fair to Riley, he's had about 45 more plate appearances within the split. So the sample size is much larger than it is for Goldie. Rich Hill, I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing about Rich Hill. Even if he's good tonight, Rich Hill is probably going to only throw 4 to 5 innings.
Yeah.
Boston bullpen since the All-Star break has a 7.15 ERA. So even if Riley doesn't do it off the lefty, he's probably got 2 or 3 plate appearances against that bullpen. So over 10 DraftKings points, but could easily say 20.
Yeah, I mean, Rich Hill, I can just tell you, probably won't be good. So you guys both going with the 10-plus point category. Steve, up next, what do we got? Nolan Gorman here.
Oh, yeah. Here's my guy, Nolan Gordon, over on the Cardinals, one of the best hitters in all of baseball, even though the numbers don't really show that right now. But great matchup tonight against Feltner, who has really struggled against lefties. 396 WOBA, 6 of the 7 home runs that he's allowed has gone against lefties. And then, you got Gorman here, 220 isolated power. His numbers have really been peaks and valleys since he's been called up here. Dropped him a little bit in the lineup, but still a 220 isolated power against right-handed pitching here. I think this is a really nice spot for him here. I'm going to put him in the 5 spot because, like we mentioned, there's a lot of pitchers in this pool here. But again, I think this is going to be a much better spot than him getting 5 DraftKings fantasy points. But this is the strategy. This is part of the game here. You got to think this out. If I put Gorman in the 20 spot and all of a sudden I get a pitcher, what am I going to put him at 5? That ain't going to happen.
All right.
Put Gorman in the 5 spot.
All right, here we go. Let's go. Braxton Garrett. That's for you, Gare Bear.
Oh,
Remember,
boy.
you can pass too. You both still have a pass available.
That is true. You know what? I'm actually going to put Braxton Garrett in the over 20 DraftKings points category.
Wow.
Here's the thing. It's a tough matchup against the Phillies. The Phillies in particular, as of late, have actually been hitting like we thought they would be able to hit at the start of the season. And I know Garrett has had the softest of soft schedules. His last 4 starts, he's somehow faced the Pirates twice and the Reds twice. I'm not sure how the schedule works that way for a National League East pitcher. But he's also at a 40% strikeout rate in those 4 games. At a certain point, I just can't ignore the upside of a 40% strikeout rate. He's also got a 3.04 FIP for the season as a whole, so he's actually been really good. Surprise, the Marlins have another great young pitcher they're wasting with no offensive talent. I'll say over 20 DraftKings points because I think he has that potential.
All right, next. What's in the hat? Mark Canha, Steven. Oh, God. Hey, you have a pass. Force him to use it.
I'm passing that to Gary.
Yeah!
Gary's going to take Mark Canha.
Perfect.
Oh.
Bring on Mark Canha. Bring on Mark Canha, who will score 0 DraftKings points tonight. Look, it's not because of the matchup, obviously. Mike Minor has not been good for the majority of the season. At the same time, Canha's got some really weird reverse splits this year. He's been much better against right-handed pitching, a 137 WRC+. But he's been against left-handed pitching, just an 84 WRC+. So of the options we have in this hat, I think he is definitely the most likely to score 0 DraftKings points. So I will put him right down there.
Okay. So then Byron Buxton is next. Wait, so does Garion go now? Or is it back to Steve? Yeah, Garion. Okay, great.
Oh, so I finish up? Okay.
Yeah, which you only have.
So I guess I'll put Buxton in my 5 DraftKings point category. It's the only one I have left. This is actually nice, sort of a nice spot for Buxton. I think like 5 DraftKings points in your head, you're like, I'm lukewarm on this guy. The problem is Buxton either scores 0 DraftKings points or 14 because he only hits home runs. That's kind of just what 2022 Byron Buxton has turned into. Gets a tough matchup against Julio Urias, who's been really, really good as of late, a 2.28 ERA across his last 9 starts. However, Buxton's got a 390 isolated power against left-handed pitching. So again, I'm going to put him in the 5. More likely than not, he scores 0 or 14, but these are the decisions we have to make.
All right, Steve, I guess that means you get the last 2. Zach Wheeler.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll put him right in the 20 spot there. Really good matchup here against the Marlins. The Marlins have just been an absolute disaster at the plate during the month of August. I know it's not a huge sample size, only the 9th day of the month, but they've scored a total of 9 runs in the month of August. They're hitting 198 as a club with a 237 WOBA. So, Zach Wheeler, his best numbers have been at home where they're at tonight, 1.58 ERA, 2.52 FIP. This should be a great spot for him. And now I just hope and pray I don't get Shohei Ohtani because I have the 0 spot left.
Okay, let's see who you get.
Cheat.
I didn't. It's Dansby Swanson.
Good, 0. We're a little bit tight on time. 0.
Yeah.
Do I think he's going to get 0 against Rich Hill and the Red Sox? No. But this is where I have to put him. This is the sacrifices we have to make this game doable. So Swanson's going to go in the 0 spot. But like I say before, just because he's in the 0 spot doesn't mean you can't write like a 1 or 2 in front of it at home. Okay, that's the type of analysis we need here. But Swanson against the lefty, 377 WOBA, 142 WRC plus. Rich Hill, good Lord, what's he like? 50 years old. He's going to put up 50 runs for the Braves tonight. So giving Swanson in the 0 spot, but we like him for way more than that.
All right, well played, gentlemen. Appreciate you. Best bets for the St. Jude Championship still ahead right after we dive into some Rainmakers football with Chirag.
That's a great looking spot.
Thank you. Rainmakers football is the next generation of fantasy football, and you can play it exclusively on DraftKings this season. Rainmakers, the first ever NFT fantasy football game where you build your roster through NFT pack drops, set your lineup each week, win all kinds of new NFTs and prizes along the way. Rainmakers football, it is here. People, go check it out in the DraftKings marketplace right now. You have questions, I have questions. Chirag Hira in studio has all the answers. Like, what's going on this week in the land of Rainmakers, dude?
Well, the amazing part right now, we're having a drop. It is the drop to go into literally right now, about to drop, opening at 12 o'clock today. It is the Elite Pack. So that is the first pack for this week, but we still have another one as well. This pack drop, we'll have one more pack drop for the rest of the week, and that will be here on 8/10. It'll be the other pack drop, $59.99 for it, and that'll be the rare pack. So basically 2 packs, one today, one tomorrow. But if you really wanted to, you could also still join into the Genesis one if you wanted to get a legendary, or if you wanted to get a core booster pack. So those are all the options that are available right now, all different types of drops that are available for the public. But not only that, there are also auctions. And the reason why, as you can see here, we moved to the join waiting room section right now. So at this moment, you can go in and get into the waiting room. for this Genesis pack drop, but the auctions. That is what I want to talk about because you get to pick whichever player you want. If you don't want to be a part of the pack drop, then you get to go in and get a player that you like and you can make an auction. There are plenty of great players to choose from here. So auctions are going on throughout this week, and like it shows here, they will also end all the way until 8/12. So continuing on throughout the week for a while, and you get to have all these different types of players. But what I really like, the awesome part about the Rainmakers packs and the auctions is that you get to pick your own players, but you can also get these players in the packs.
All right. So there's a secondary market too, right? Where you can build your rosters like users can, like by buying and selling all kinds of cards, right? So what's new in this department?
Well, basically, where you can buy it is if you go to the browse section and you can pick here, you can either get an unopened pack already from the marketplace, or you can get players as well. And in the secondary market, a really cool feature that I like is the activity feed. The reason why I like this activity feed is because it allows you to see how much people are listing for and how much people are buying for. So if you wanted to figure out, all right, how much is, what was the last sale for a core booster pack? Somebody bought it here for $19.99. So that means they went in and they got the core booster pack for $19.99 in the drop. But you can also see it gives you a timestamp here and allows you to see how long ago whenever these sales and listings and openings were made.
How can people educate themselves though more on DraftKings Rainmakers? Like you're not available 24/7, so what can they do?
Well, they can go to Twitter and they can check out this NFT draft bot. The draft bot's pretty cool because what it will do is it'll tell you when there are big sales in the DraftKings marketplace so you can understand, hey, this player was sold for this amount and this is how much I should consider in auction or purchasing it myself. But not only that, you can go to DK Nation. We have a whole NFT section here for you. And in this NFT section, basically we have the trends. Reed Fowler wrote up a really great article about all the drops and secondary plays that were happening in July. But then if you wanted to, you can see here, drop schedule, info page, set drop update. So basically what this will tell you is what the times are and what the details are of all the drops. Not only that, but we had a nice little article Jeff wrote up. Basically what this is there's a watch party. So this week, we're going to have a watch party with a bunch of users, and we're going to be showing off all the packs and everything that's going to be available. Make sure to check this page out because the exact time, date, and where to watch the watch party or be a part of it will be right here in this article on DK Nation.
Excellent, brother. Thank you so much for the help. We're wrapping up the show with a betting preview of this week's PGA Tour event after our final break. After 48 regular season events, it's playoff time. The first of 3 FedEx Cup events teeing off this week. The FedEx St. Jude Championship, TPC Southwind in Memphis, Tennessee. Scheffler, Smith, Burns, Schauffele, Cantlay, all chasing that $18 million top prize. DraftKings contributor Jeff Ulrich is here. So is the Action Network's Jason Sobel. Betting preview of this week's event. But before we do that, let's give Jason some props here. Because last week, dude, you were all over Tom the Train Kim, who at 20 years young, torched the Wyndham, claimed his first career victory. And you know what, Jason? We have video proof to help you look good.
Yeah, so young Tom Kim, he wants us all to call him Tom these days, is riding a heater. He clinched his PGA Tour card with a 7th place finish in Detroit last week, and so now he's essentially playing with house money, playing with nothing to lose. And so I love players who sort of have that nothing to lose attitude moving forward. He's obviously riding a heater right now. I like him.
Choo choo. Get on the tracks. Take that victory lap, Sobel.
Nope. Can't do it.
What?
You can never take a victory lap in this business. No, I look at hashtag
You coward.
golf betting Twitter every single day, and it's guys giving themselves green check marks. Never look back. Always look ahead. Don't be talking about what you won last week. Talk about what you're going to win this week instead.
Oh, wow. We would have had to dedicate 10 minutes for Jeff Ulrich to take a victory lap. But
Yeah,
you know
when
what?
I get something right, I mean, I bring it up for the whole year, Jason. But Jason's right. He's
Act
a
like
veteran.
you've been there before.
He knows that the minute you start celebrating,
Yeah.
that's when your year-long slump locks in. So kudos to him. It was a great call, though.
Yeah.
And look, it's good that someone around here is picking a winner because Reed and I can't do it anymore. So.
That's true. No, Reed's been really good at picking the second place guy.
Yes. He's got like 12 runners up. It's
True.
very impressive, actually.
Let's get to this week, gentlemen. 125 golfers here are going to be whittled down to 70 this week. And the playoffs, that means we have a great field once again. Rory at the top of the board, plus 900 in front of Scheffler, Cantlay, Thomas, Schauffele, all at plus 1,400. Jason, whose odds surprised you the most?
Yeah, so Emerson, looking at the board, I think that, first of all, I am at TPC Southwind.
Yep.
The course is out there somewhere. I'm inside because there's air conditioning. It's really hot
Yes.
outside. I got to rest up for the week. It's going to be a big week. But as far as like the odds, it's interesting that Matt Fitzpatrick is as short as he is this week, and Cameron Smith is a little bit longer. I thought Cameron Smith might be even closer to Rory McIlroy based on the fact that he won the Open Championship in his last start. He has 3 wins already this year, but the fact that Fitz a little higher and Smith is a little bit lower, I thought that was a little interesting to me.
Hey, Jeff, anyone you think maybe a little too short, a little too long?
I mean, John Rahm at plus 2,000 it's jarring. Like the last time we saw John Rahm up around this number, he won because it was at the 2020 Memorial. I remember that. It was probably the last win I had too. But that's when it happened. Everyone just kind of got down on John Rahm because he was like posting some T30s and he hadn't played that well, and then he just came out and blitzed the field. So to me, it really is like when I look at these odds, that's kind of where my eyes go. John Rahm was the number 1 player in the world to start the season. Yeah, some other guys have had hot years. Rahm still has a win, and I think that long term, when you're betting John Rahm at plus 2,000, you will get paid off. And when other players like, not to pick on like Patrick Cantlay or Fitzpatrick, but when they're shorter in odds than John Rahm, that's probably a bit of a misprice, just long term. I'm not, it's not a huge one, but it's big enough for me to take advantage. So for me, at the top of the board, his name does stick out the most this week.
Jason, one guy a little further down the board, though, who's actually had a great season is Sam Burns. So he sits in 3rd in the standings here. Like, we'll be looking to collect those 2,000 points to move into first place. Are you getting after Burns at plus 3,500? And if not, like, who's a guy in this neighborhood you do like?
I like Burns a lot. I'll give you a guy in this neighborhood in a little bit. I'm going to wait to give you my favorite play in that neighborhood for a specific reason. You'll see why in just a few minutes. But I do like Sam Burns. The only thing I don't like about Sam Burns, who lost in the playoff here last year, the course really suits him, is that everybody likes Sam Burns this week. And I always get the feeling, Emerson, that when everyone zigs, you got to zag a little bit. I get it. We can all win together, and that's always nice. But it just feels like there's a little too much Sam Burns love this week. I'm going to play him instead because I want a Burns investment as a first-round leader play. He's 27th on the PGA Tour in round 1 scoring average this season. He was 16th last season. That's not a coincidence. That's a trend. I like him on Thursdays. He starts strong on a regular basis. So I'll have more round 1 investment on Burns than full tournament investment. But yes, to answer your question, I do like him this week.
Yeah, Jeff, his first trip here in 2021, I mean, this course is a fit for him. He fell just 1 shot short of Abraham Answer in a playoff.
I mean, like the dude's won a couple times this year. He's got a bunch of wins over the last, 18 months. I don't know what he's doing at plus 3,500 when again, we like Will Zalatoris and Cameron Young. Like, I get it, and even Jordan Spieth, you can make an argument, but like, why are these players shorter in odds than Sam Burns at this point? It just makes no sense. So yeah, absolutely. You have to at least like Sam Burns. You don't have to bet him, but you have to like his odds this week because they're just bigger than comparable players, right? I mean, he's just a better value. He's got a better strike rate. He's an elite putter who, has had his most success on Bermuda greens. That's what we're getting this week. Will Zalatoris probably not going to gain you 8 strokes putting. Sam Burns absolutely has that in him, and he's actually done it on a regular basis at certain points during his PGA career. He's good value. Like Jason, there is a player I like better in this range too. So I'm very curious to see if it's the same player. Let's save our reveal for the final segment because there's a player very close that I like as well. And now I'm super interested. I don't know if we're talking about the same guy.
Oh.
It's a lot of intrigue though, and we're building up for a great finale.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure you will find a way to disappoint. Which long shots do you like this week, Ulrich?
Damn you, Emerson. Okay, I mean, I think that, again, we've seen players in this event, this first playoff event, win at like plus 5,000, plus 6,000. I'm not going super deep this week, but I will stand for my guy, Chris Kirk, again. Just so consistent off the tee. He's got a top 10 at TPC Southwind. Maybe you want to play him as a top 10 play instead of an outright. I don't know. He's plus 700 there for a top 10, but Kirk has been so consistent, and he was T17 in Detroit in his last start, but he had an abnormally bad week around the greens for him. He's second in around the green stats over the last 50 rounds in this field, in this elite field. And Chris Kirk is also top 20 in off the tee stats, so probably not going to find the water much. Been very consistent. I think at plus 10,000, this is a player, again, he's actually got a playoff win from 2015 on his record. I think he could get it done in this elite field. So he's the one player at like triple digits that I'm looking at this week. Got to give Chris Kirk one more chance.
Jason, talking long shots here, but how deep will you actually go in this field?
I like everything Jeff just said there. I think that's a really sharp call on Chris Kirk. I like him. I'm not going too deep either. I'm looking at guys that I've liked throughout the entire year, and I've picked out 3 guys that I'm essentially on every single time they play because I think they're undervalued on a regular basis. Aaron Wise, who was 1 stroke out of the top 10 last week, he's got it. He does everything really well. He's your prototypical 5-tool player. Keith Mitchell, I feel the same way about. He's one of the best drivers of the golf ball there is. And then if you want to go really deep, one guy with triple-digit numbers, and again, I just sprinkle a little bit on him outright and play him some props, but Sahith Theegala has that kind of talent that he can go out against a field that includes Rory and Rahm and Scheffler and Cam Smith and all these guys. And I think if he plays his best golf, he really can compete and contend with all these other great players. So he's a guy that I'm looking at plus 130,000, 130 to 1. I'm not good at all those zeros.
Yeah, same here.
I don't have too many zeros. I don't have too many zeros in my bank account. I can't count up zeros like that. But 130 to 1 for Sahith.
All right, Sobel, this is the moment of truth. This is your pick to win the FedEx St. Jude Championship. I have a feeling this is the moment you were also teasing moments ago.
It is.
Yes.
And so a guy at 30 to 1 right now. I think DraftKings actually opened him at 35 or even 40 to 1 when the odds first came out on Monday morning. If you jumped on that early, congratulations to you. I like one of the best ball strikers on a second shot golf course. He's 4th in strokes gained on approach shots. We know he's an elite iron player. Colin Morikawa has not had the best season to date, but you look at what he's done recently, those 2 missed cuts in a row coming into this one, they happen at the Scottish Open and the Open Championship. That doesn't bother me too much. There's literally nothing from either of those events that translates to Memphis. When I got here yesterday, early Monday morning, I walked out past the range. The first player I saw was Colin Morikawa. I'd already picked him, but that just reinforced my idea that he's going to work towards this. Look, as we've seen over the years, Patrick Cantlay last year is a great example. The elite level players who haven't played necessarily their best golf, they feel like they got to play some catch up in the playoffs. I think Colin Morikawa feels like some catch up is needed to basically make this season one that isn't that forgettable. And so I like him as a great ball striker on, like I said, a second shot golf course.
Jeff, did it end up being the same guy?
It did not, but like everything Jason said applies to my guy as well. It's Victor Hovland at plus 3,500. Has had a bit of a rough year just in terms of like on the PGA. Doesn't have a PGA Tour win. Did win earlier in the season overseas. He won in the fall swing, but Victor Hovland again coming off a top 5 at a major championship where that elite ball striking started to come back. And again, like I don't understand his number this week. When he's almost double Will Zalatoris, it just doesn't make sense. to me. I think this is a pretty good setup for Hovland, who had a really successful Florida swing. Those courses in Florida much more comparable to TPC Southwind and what we'll see this week. So I do like the Morikawa call. I think both these guys are undervalued this week. These are players who, if they had showed any form, say they had played in Detroit in top 10, they'd probably be plus 2,500, not plus 3,000 or plus 3,500. But I'm going to go with Hovland. I love the fact that he got himself in competition, got that top 5 at the Open, and now he's coming in rested. And I just like this setup a lot for him. So I'm going to go Hovland at plus 3,500. But again, I think if you started your card with Morikawa and Hovland this week, that's a pretty good way to do it.
All right, you guys have been fantastic. Appreciate the help. That's a show, everybody. Thanks so much. We're back here live in the studio, 11 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning. Watch the slate tonight at 5 o'clock. Madden kicks off at high noon. The Sweat now coming to a close. Fade to black.